The Humpbacked Horse 1947 film. The Humpbacked Horse Russian, Konyak Gorbunok, tr. Konyak Gorbunok, that is the little horse Little Humpback, is a 1947. The film is based on the poem by Pyotr Pavlovich Yershov, and because of this, it is spoken in rhyme. A remake also by Ivanov-Vano and Soyuzmultfilm was released in 1975. This version, translated in English by George Molko, was released on October 25, 1977, as The Magic Pony. Plot: an old man has three sons. The elder two are considered fairly smart, while the youngest, Ivan, is considered a fool. One day the father sends the three to find out who's been taking the hay in their fields at night. The elder brothers decide to lie hidden in a haystack, where they promptly fall asleep. Ivan, meanwhile, sits beside a birch tree and plays on his recorder. Suddenly, he sees a magnificent horse come flying out of the sky. Ivan grabs her mane and holds on as the horse tries to shake him off. Finally, the horse begs him to let her go, and in return gives him two beautiful black male horses and a little humpbacked horse, Konyak Gorbunok, to be his companion. Ivan leads the two black horses to a stable and runs off with Konyak Gorbunok to fetch them buckets of water. When he comes back, he finds that his brothers have taken his horses. Konyak Gorbunok tells him that they will catch them in the city, so Ivan sits on its back, and they go flying through the clouds. Along the way, Ivan finds the fiery feather of a firebird, which shines without giving off any heat, and takes it despite Konyak Gorbunok's warning that it will cause him difficulty later. They reach the city, and Ivan outwits his brothers and sells his black horses to the Tsar. When it is found that nobody can control them except Ivan, he is put in charge of the Tsar's stables. Spalnik, one of the Tsar's courtiers identified as a chamberlain in the original Russian, and either a soothsayer or a groom in various English dubbings, takes a disliking to Ivan and hides himself in the stables to watch him at work so that he can think of a way to remove him from the Tsar's favor. After seeing Ivan use the firebird's feather for light, he steals it from him and shows it to the Tsar, who commands Ivan to catch him a firebird or lose his post. With Konyak Gorbunok's help, Ivan catches one and brings it back to the Tsar. Spalnik tells the Tsar to make Ivan catch a beautiful Tsar maid, so the Tsar summons him and tells him that the consequences will be dire if he doesn't bring her within 3 weeks. Ivan again manages to do this. The elderly Tsar is overjoyed and begs the young maiden to marry him, but she refuses, telling him that she would only marry him if he were young and handsome, and that to become young and handsome he would need to bathe first in boiling milk. Spalnik tells him to try this out on Ivan first, hoping at last to be rid of his nemesis. The Tsar agrees, and when Ivan protests upon being told of this, the Tsar orders him to be thrown into prison until everything is ready the next morning. Konyak Gorbunok comes to Ivan and through the prison bars tells him not to worry, to simply whistle for him in the morning and let him put a magic spell on the water so that it will not be harmful to him. Spalnik overhears this and kidnaps Konyak Gorbunok just as he is walking away from Ivan. In the morning, Ivan whistles for Konyak Gorbunok, who is tied up in a bag. He manages to free himself, eventually knocking Spalnik out a window and into a well. Spalnik presumably falls to his death when the rope holding the bucket breaks, and Konyak Gorbunok comes to Ivan's rescue at the last moment, putting a spell on the 3 cauldrons of water. Ivan jumps into the boiling milk, then the boiling water, and then the freezing water, and emerges as a handsome young man instead of a boy. The young maiden falls in love with him and they walk away. Meanwhile, the Tsar gets excited and decides that he also wants to be young and handsome. However, the spell is no longer working, so after he jumps into the boiling water he doesn't come back out. Ivan, meanwhile, takes the maiden as his own wife and becomes the new Tsar, with Konyak Gorbunok continuing to follow him as his friend. Creators, 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 awards, version of 1947. 1948 the Honorable Diploma on the Roman III in KF in Mariana Lazniak CSR. 1950 the Special Award of Jury on the Roman IV in KF in Cannes. Version of 1975. 1977 November the Bronze Medal for the Best Animated Film on category of Children's Movies on the VIMKF in Tehran. Interesting facts. In the opening credits of 1947 version, Ivan Ivanov-Vano is credited as Ivano, but the cast and narrator are uncredited. In the book Shot Off Screen, Ivan Ivanov-Vano writes, in film distribution, on a film studio, there are letters with a request again to release Konyak-Gorbunok. But the movie negative was badly damaged, and to print new copies from it was impossible. When these lines were written, Vano finished work on the new version. In 1988, the USSR Mail of the USSR released a series, 6 pieces of stamps animated films. One of brands was devoted to the animated film Konyak-Gorbunok. Appreciation to the movie was given by Walt Disney, who showed it to his animators and artists. 1975 version. In 1975, Ivan Ivanov-Vano made another version of the same film. The 1975 film is 73 minutes long, 18 minutes longer than the original. Although the progression of scenes and their plot content is usually the same as in the original, the animation and specific actions of the characters are different. For example, a scene may be taken from a different angle or in a different location. All of the backgrounds were also newly drawn. Sometimes a scene was drawn out, other times contracted. For example, the scene where Ivan first sees the white horse is much simplified compared to 1947. The cartoon keeps the plot of Ivan getting Tsar Maid's ring from the sea at her demand, with the help of a giant whale absent in the 1947 cartoon. This was done because the original film was then in a very bad shape, and the technical expertise for a restoration did not exist. In 2004, with the technical expertise now existing in Russia, the original film was restored and released on DVD by Krupny Plan. The 1975 version was redubbed, recut, and released in the United States as The Magic Pony in October 25, 1977, with Jim Backus as the voice of the Tsar, Hans Conried as Spalnik, and Johnny Whitaker as Ivan. This version of the film was first released on VHS in the early 1980s by Video Warehouse, Inc., and later again in 1984 by Vestron Video through their children's video library division. Starmaker Entertainment and Anchor Bay Entertainment released it on VHS again in 1995. Voices. Additional voices: Diana Alton, Rob Seen, John Craig, Wayne Heffley, Jason Wingreen, Sandra Worth. Home video. Both versions of the Humpbacked Horse have been released on home video. In the 1980s, Videoprogrammoy Goskino USSR Videoprogrammoy Goskino SSSR released the film in the second system, and later in the 1990s in the PL system. The 1975 edition was released on home video by Film Association Krupny Plan. Both were later released on VHS by Soyuzmultfilm and also by Studio PRO Video in their collection The Best Soviet Animated Films. The film has been issued on DVD from the 2000s on. The 1947 version has been restored and distributed by Krupny Plan. The 1975 version first received a DVD release in 2003, in the 5th release of the Golden Collection of Favorite Cartoons, and later on by Soyuzmultfilm in the animated film collection Tale of a Fairy Tale.